My name is Dr. Adam Sawyers. I'm a very, very, very below average powerlifter and a very exceptionally good online strength coach. This is my training whilst I rehab from exploding both my quads. So I was squatting 285 kilos and basically my quads were like, nah, I've had enough, and they just popped off. So I'm about 11 months after surgery for that, and this is my training. That's the mandatory intro for every video now, just because quite a few people that watch these videos don't know the lore, they don't know the backstory. Anyway, for everyone else who's watched these in the past, you guys are the best. So the plan at the minute is rebuilding back up. Now, I called these videos 600, thinking a 600 kilo total would be something that was difficult to kind of work towards. And so what I was thinking for that is something like 120 kilo squat, 180 kilo bench, and a 300 kilo deadlift. However, the rehab has gone easier than I thought, and my normal training has not gone as well as I thought. So my current maxes on the three: 100 kilo squat, so I'm 20 kilos off. 170 kilo bench, so I'm 10 kilos off. And the most I've actually pulled in the rehab is 222.5. So that's 77.5 kilos off. Now, part of the reason for that is because I also broke a bone in my foot when I fell over with the 285. And so deadlift has been very intermittent. But anyway, I'll still move on. I think if I had to, I actually think I could squat 120 kilos now. So I did, if you go back to the last video, which was yesterday, I squatted 100 kilos. And it was at, the RPE was non-existent. Only downside was the residual soreness. Was it yesterday? Oh, I'm losing track of days. Today's Wednesday. So yesterday I benched, but I put the squat video in because when I squatted on Monday, I did it at the gym, and the gym was packed. So I still haven't started doing the videos like this at the gym again yet. So today, plan is deadlift. Clearly, as you can see. Now, progression wise, last week I had 140 for 5 and 100 for 4 sets of 5. Wasn't having the best day for the knees and the ankle, which is why the deadlift is so far behind. Well, obviously it's still ahead of the squat, but that's why it feels so far behind. Don't know why that's been slow. This timer thing I find super helpful for training, you know. I don't know why I put it on between warm-up sets, to be honest. So what I tend to do during these is train, talk nonsense, depending on what comes into my mind, and then as my training gets heavier and heavier and becomes more like powerlifting, there'll be more talking and less exercise, I guess, just because the rests will become longer, or the videos will potentially become longer. So I think yesterday's video, it's about 30 minutes, because it was just the bench side of things, and it wasn't anything too crazy. Today, I've got a 2 out of 10 level DOMs in my shoulders. I also tried at the gym some behind the neck skull crushers. Now, I'll stick a clip of that video on yesterday's video. I felt like I was my elbows were forwards and all the way back. When I watched it back, I'm like this. So there's obviously range of motion lacking there. So that's good. It's something else to work on. And what I've done is I've taken the wedges that I used to squat on, put one in my office so I can stretch out this ankle as much as possible. Well, both ankles, obviously, because my Achilles are just stiff like balls right now. Right then. So last week this was 5, and then 100 was 4 sets of 5. But really, it shouldn't be difficult. It's only 140 kilos. Anyway. This is a slight slope, which is why it's kind of fallen down. It's not a crazy slope, but there is a little one there. So that felt alright, actually. I'm not sure. What should we go for the top set? So it was 140 last week. That didn't feel too bad on my knees, to be honest. So I think we'll go 160. Looking for 5 reps. And see how that goes. So the idea with this is, I want to beat the average of last week. So, if I had 4 sets of 5 at 100, what's that, 2,000 kilos? And then 1 set of 5 at 140, that's another 700 kilos. So 2,700 kilos is the total workload last week. So, just want to try and beat this. So if I do this for 5, that will be 160 kilos times 5 reps, which would be 800 kilos. And then I have 2,000 kilos of volume to do after that. So it doesn't need to be anything special. So when progressing powerlifting stuff, you want to look at your total volume over time, but at the percentage of max. So the percentage that you're lifting relative to your max determines the type of adaptation you get. The total amount of work determines the volume of that adaptation. So generally, more load at higher percent, you get more strength gains. Generally. Obviously there's exceptions, there's always exceptions to stuff. But like as a general rule. So what I'm doing is just generally building up what the volume is and trying to increase the loading at the same time as well, because this is kind of like beginner gains at the minute, because it is still quite light. What I'm finding is one of the hardest parts on this is just on my hands, just because they're so soft from not being used to the deadlifts. But if I want to be able to pull with a hook grip again and feel strong with it, I need to actually pull with a hook grip again and be strong with it, don't I? So, I'm going to aim for 5 reps here. That 5th rep felt horrible on my right knee. All of the reps felt horrible on my hands. What I probably need to do is make sure I'm deadlifting slightly more frequently to get used to the hook grip. I'm going to call it an happy 8. Actually, no, I'm going to call it a 9.5 because as I was doing that last rep, I was actually considering stopping because this knee just, it just don't quite feel right. And I'm very, very averse to things not quite feeling right now. So, don't want to risk pushing that. But that's not too bad of a top set, to be honest. Anyway. So that was 160 for a top set. So I'm going to go 110, which yes, I know it's very light, but it is sufficient stimulus for me. What I probably should have done is go 150. So it would have been a 10 kilo improvement, but it's fine. And And then next week, again, providing everything feels fine, what I'll probably look to try and do is increase the back offs. So I'll probably go 160 again, but for the back offs, try and build them up. So to 120, 130, 1 whatever, because there's no immediate timeline to have to get strong for. So there's no rush on this. That was quite fun actually to do. So it felt like actual training, just for a brief moment. So that was a 1.5-minute timer that's just gone off there. I'm not like I have to do a 1.5-minute rest, but it's just like a nice cadence to remind me to keep going. Let the breathing calm down. And then go again. So that was fine. 110, first set 5. Just add this onto the app. 1 set 5, 110, RPE. I don't think I could give that an RPE. So yeah, how are you guys? Who was watching this? How are you doing? Yesterday, my training was on the evening, so when I was done, I was knackered. It was really good. Did pressing, flies, triceps, curls, most important exercise, of course. Weight came down, I think today, 95.3, which is the lowest it's been yet. So I think another 5 kilos or so to go over the next 5 weeks. So I am increasing the rate of loss a little bit now. So it's been like 0.3 kilos a week. I'm going to bump it up to 1 kilo a week for the next 4 or 5 weeks. Part of the reason for that is we are going away. So there's the going away, wanting to be in good shape. That's part of it, but a bigger part is being lighter is going to make walking on my foot better. And when we're away, I want to be able to walk around a lot. And I am not above renting a mobility scooter. That's what we did last year, when I was obviously much sooner after surgery. But if I can get away without one, I'd rather that. It also means I can get this phase done with, so when I get back, I can be like, right, food's at maintenance, plenty for recovery, crack on, tick off that bench, keep rehabbing squats. Kind of, not that I'm like ignoring deadlifts, I'm not, but let deadlifts just improve in their own time rather than forcing them. Right, set 2. Done. Again, still fine. No dramas. Add set. Yes. 1 set 5 at RP5, 110. So today, I talked about my sleep the last few weeks. I finally got my sleep stuff nailed now to where it's repeatable. I'm averaging 8 hours and 42 minutes. It just seems to be the number, which funnily enough is what it used to be prior to the accident. It was averaging 8 hours and 42 minutes. Don't know why that time, but that is the time it is. Good thing and the bad thing about that is now going to bed at say I went to bed at 10, that means I'll wake up roughly 6:42. Last night I went to bed at about 9. So I woke up like 20 to 6, and I was like, it's too late to go back to sleep, but it's a bit too early to get up. Anyway, I just got up. I've decided I will just have my work day start a bit sooner. So got up, shower, all the normal stuff, and then cracked on with work for a couple of hours. What I've been doing is planning out my athletes' programming over a longer time horizon, the ones that I didn't already have it. So for example, one of my guys planning out his training until, so it's February 2025 now. So planned out his training until the summer of 2026, looking towards World Championships. So things like that, just mapping it out for a longer time horizon. Good thing about like being a very good coach is clients tend to stick around for a while, so I can spend the time doing that, which also feeds into the athletes doing better. So I've been just going through everybody list, name by name of what's short-term goal, medium, long-term, how can we map everything out? Because like, let me just do another set actually. So, mapping out the training. Get a lot of clients, and for them, their initial goal is just get in shape. I know that's vague, they'll be more specific about it, but for simplicity's sake, let's say it's just getting in shape. That was 3 sets, wasn't it? Yeah. So 1 more to go. So, that's actually, contrary to what lots of people will have you believe, for most people, getting in shape is not a long-term goal. It's a short to mid-term goal. So what most people mean when they say get in shape is just get lean. So basically, getting to where you can see your abs. Say you're at 30% body fat, you've got 20% body fat to go. So, say you're 100 kilos, that means you've got 20 kilos to go. That's probably 6 months. That's quite short to medium term. Then after that, then what's the goal? So those are the people where don't always know what's next because they can't see beyond that horizon yet because they don't know. They don't know what they're going to enjoy, what they're going to want to do. Whereas strength athletes, it's like, I want to be world champion. I want to deadlift 300. I want to deadlift 400. I want to bench 220 plates. Kilos, Jesus, 220 pounds, like, do that in 6 weeks. So it's mapping out with those clients where it takes a bit more because it's hard oftentimes to get them to see beyond that first like transformation because a lot of people have never been in shape in their adult life, so they don't know how they're going to feel or anything. Whereas like, so say someone like myself, I have been in shape, out of shape, all the shapes, so I can be like, right, we'll use this phase, get lean, and move on to this and this and this. So I know what it's like, I know how I feel, I know everything else. So yeah, been doing that this morning. Obviously training now. And head to the gym after this and do some single leg press. And then, what's on the agenda? I think I need to rewrite a landing page, a sales page. So for a paid product, it's for basics but better, which is, so I have 3 different coaching options. Basic but better is the middle one. And then I've got a 14 strong technique review tonight. So that'll be a couple of hours probably, just running through people's techniques, questions, help them, all that sort of stuff. So that'll be good. And then finish work about 9ish tonight probably. Bed 9:30. Good day. To me it's a good day. Last set. These are hook grip, by the way, to improve the tolerance of my thumbs. Done. That was alright. So 4 sets of 5 at 110 after top set of 5 at 160. I'll take that. So that's a lot more volume than last week. Average of a lower intensity on the back offs, higher intensity on the top set, but that's fine. Next up is going to be pull-ups. So last time we did 5 reps with 10 kilos attached. So these are going to be neutral grip, which is these. And then after that, some pull downs. So we'll pop these away whilst I'm resting. Now, with the coaching, so there's 3 options, like I say. One is the premium, the best coaching option, which is very, very hands-on. Regular calls, full protocols. Anybody who's using super supplements, that's the super supplements, special supplements. That's the coaching option with them, because I don't want to be involved with somebody doing that and not be able to actually give very, very specific and clear help so that no mistakes are being made. Because obviously that's people's health. It's a big thing. Same thing for rehab and stuff like that. It just takes more time, needs to be more hands-on, so obviously it's more expensive. And then the second one, basics but better, which is the idea of making sure you're doing all the basic stuff better. So this is my normal option. So you can think of that like programming and coaching rather than it being like full overhaul. So with that, there's no calls included, no one-to-one calls. I might sometimes just be like, are you free to have a chat instead? But there's none like a standard. With the technique reviews as well, I tend to do them as a group format rather than on a one-to-one basis. And that's how I can make that cheaper, because so every time you do a technique review, you have to look at fixed cost and variable cost. So a fixed cost of recording is setting up the camera, setting up the apps, setting up the whatever. That all needs setting up once. That's a fixed cost. And the variable cost is how many technique reviews I do. So if I'm doing every single person, I've got the fixed cost for that person and then the variable of their videos. Whereas if instead I'm doing 15 people's technique review, but there's only a single fixed cost, that's one lot of the fixed cost instead of 15 lots of it. So even though the variable changes, that doesn't. And the other good thing with the variable one and the multiple is, if we've got 2 clients with the same thing technique-wise, I can just talk to both at once. People get the value from that. So that's how it can be cheaper, is because I can spend it's slightly less time on each person in terms of that. So it just means I can get more done. And then the next one, which is the bottom one, is ASC Performance app. So with that, there is no direct one-to-one access to me. Everything is via group. Whereas the both the premium and basics but better, we have a one-to-one chat. So we do talk on a daily basis. With this one, there is no one-to-one chat. All communication is via the group, and programming is not written for each person. Programs are written, they go up onto the app. You then select which program you want and run that program. I do weekly Q&As for that and technique reviews as well, but with those ones, it's more like I might suggest you make this change, but I'm not actually going to manually do it, so you do it for yourself. And that's super useful, especially for lifters that are, so either younger lifters is a big one, because often you don't actually need some super custom written for you program. What you need is a good program that you stick to, someone to just watch your technique every so often and be like, just change this or change this or whatever, and someone to be like, stop changing the program, you idiot, stick to what the plan is. So as a really good option for that kind of demographic. That's partly why I made it. So that one is very, very cheap. They're the options. And then I do one-off consultations. They are priced at I don't really want to do it price, because sometimes people just want to talk about stuff which is really boring. And to be honest, I would rather spend the time with my actual clients. So that's priced. It's one of them things of where, like, it's really expensive if you're just going to ask me how to calculate your macros. It's really cheap if you're going to ask me how to change your whole protocol based on a medical condition. So depends on how you look at it. So they're the, like, 4 options, I guess. I've had lots of people ask me to make, when people say, I've had loads of people ask, to me, lots of people would be at least a dozen. So 10, 20, 30 plus people, not 2 people. I've had lots of people, which is at least 12, more than that, ask me about single programs they can buy, download and use. And I was going to do that, but I'm just going to do a set and I will tell you. So we got 5s last week with this weight. So I was going to do these programs as a single one-off things you can buy. However, when I spoke to the marketing guys that I'm working with, kind of acting like a CMO, so his chief marketing officer, essentially they were like, that's going to cannibalize the lower price option, and it just makes it messier for people to know what you're selling. So that's very much on the back burner for now. And they said, if you're doing it to help people, then just make it free. If you're doing it to make money, then there are better approaches to take. So I would only have, the primary thing of that would have been to help people. But I've got 14 strong, which is free, like literally it costs you your email address. And you can even unsubscribe from my emails afterwards. But anyway, so that is the free thing that helps people. That also then does help to sign people up to the other options. So it's win-win. And with Basics But Better, the way I make that work is I only take on up to 5 people at once for that. So I'll be like, space is open, for argument's sake, space is open 1st of March, 5 slots, first 5, it goes. Next spaces might be 1st of May or whatever. So I know I can fit them in, and I know I can make sure I've got the capacity for it. Whereas I'll take on one-to-one clients more or less any time, as long as I've got time to plan. So like, I don't know when I'll post this, but I think I'll probably not be in the country, so I won't be taking anyone on now. I will be able to set up appointments for people to book in to have a chat, but not actually sign them up. And then a big thing I've been really trying to do is be more focused on singular project at once, instead of having 4 or 5 things at once. So there will be, the way that it's looking like, there'll be, I think I'm only going to have 2 main conversion mechanisms, which is probably 1 too many, but I've already got 2, so I may as well keep them. Anyway, last set. So as long as I do 5, I'm ahead of last week, which is what is important here. Okay, 5. So that's not too bad. Now, I don't know how much it'll come across in the videos, but training is like a thing I love, really enjoy. it actually improves my work stuff. My work stuff, it is a bigger priority for me at the minute, and it's something I noticed. It's the same in clients, actually, as with friends, of as you get older, obviously your priorities change. But for me, a big thing I've noticed is I'm more interested now in making sufficient money that I can support my family to do whatever they want to do. Whereas before, coaching would just be like, I love this, and if I make money, great. Whereas now, I still love it, still great, but I need to actually earn enough to make it worthwhile me doing. Because, so the age I am now, obviously I'm a medical doctor, so I could have kept working in medicine, although the money's not great, to be fair. But so I want to make sure I'm still earning enough for this to be viable and keep doing it. So that means you then have to make things more efficient and make more sense from a business standpoint. So this is actually a little side thing that I do, is the consultations. I'll often do them to other business owners because of over the last 10, 15 years of running businesses, I have become very good relative to other personal trainers and coaches at automations, software, and general business. So I often find they will just pay me for my time to help them set these things up. And I do quite enjoy that, but it's not a thing I openly advertise because it's not the main source of income. And I basically spend the time learning how to do the things that I need to do. So it's not relevant to all coaches because I've not tried everything. And therefore, I would feel disingenuous if I was selling that I was some kind of like expert on doing it all. Anyway, can't remember why I went off on that tangent. So basically, too long, didn't read version is, first got into coaching, wanted to be a really good coach, became a good coach, now want to be a really good coach that actually earns enough to make it worthwhile for the lifestyle I want to live, which actually isn't particularly luxurious. I like having security for the future, of knowing if something happens to me, the people I care about will be taken care of, which I think is what most people want, to be fair. I don't think I'm unique in that. But all of this is just a means to do that. And at the same time, get to do what I love, which is getting people super strong and jacked, because I find it fascinating. Anyway, amidst my rambling, I have set up my next exercise, which is going to be a lat pull down. So I put on the weight, I didn't actually check what I've done previously. So we've got 60 kilos for 9 and 6. So what have we got? 20, 40, 50, 60 kilos. Cool. So I want to be doing at least 9 and 6. I've been using the knockoff Versa grips recently. These are called Bear grips, which I really quite like. I think you'll be able to see me there. So I previously had only used normal straps, but I got them for Christmas from my mum, so thank you. I quite like them, to be honest. So yeah, heavy focus for me is on business. I would love to get the ASC app to 1,000 members. I'm excited to find out what new problems that will bring, because all that happens when you solve one problem is you get a different, bigger problem. but that bigger problem is a bigger problem to solve, but it might be better in some senses. So, for example, when you're a new coach, you will probably at first you'll need money. That'll be the thing you're struggling for. So then you'll be like, that's the biggest problem in the world. I don't have any money. The next problem will be, I've got money, but now I'm working 70, 80-hour weeks and I've got no time. So you've solved your first problem with the money, but now you're exhausted all the time. You're like, this is unsustainable. I can't do this. This is the worst problem ever. And if you look back, the first problem was probably a worse problem, but this new one will then feel like the worst problem because it's the current problem. That will keep going and going and going as you grow in your business. And the same with your training. So like when you first start lifting, the idea of just not knowing what to do in the gym will feel like the biggest problem. But then eventually you'll feel like you know what you're doing. And then you'll get to the point again where you can't progress, and you'll again feel like you don't know what you're doing. And you'll then spend, instead of it being a couple of weeks without progress, be a couple of years without progress. And then that'll seem like the worst problem. And there is a name for it, which I can't remember right now. But basically your problems grow as you do. And you just have to look back and be like, actually, is it a problem? Right, let's give this a go. So remember, looking for at least 9. Oh, 10. So for these, I'm trying to just get the bar down to my chin. I find from there to there, I can do it, but it takes off how much load I can use for the rest of the range of motion very significantly. And it's my training, so I can do whatever I want. I do like to rotate them out, depending on what the block is. So for right now, for today, I'm doing them to that range. What I'll potentially do is another training block. I'll maybe do the full reps. I sometimes will do where I start the set full reps to here, and then go to failure to chin, and then sometimes failure to eye line. I really like that one in clients where I'm not sure how close to failure they actually train. I get them to film that so I can see as they go, are they at muscular failure, are they just tired, or is it in their head? I find that's like super helpful as like a diagnostic tool. I think this is the last exercise for in here, and then I'll be going to the gym. So 6 is what we got last time. We're up 1 rep on the first set. I'm going to try and beat that this set. Try and beat the 6, or at least match it. Do you think, if you're still watching this, do you think the lighting setup looks better like this with these on? Also, what I keep forgetting to do, which I got into a good habit of doing before, is taking a picture for a thumbnail, because that does seems like the thumbnail and the title is the biggest determining factor of how many views, which makes sense. Right then, at least 6. I believe that was 8, so that will do. Now, what I'm going to do is try and take a picture for the thumbnail. I stand here, like this. There's my thumbnail picture. I've not done like a physique update thing in ages, but primarily because it might just make you vomit. Give me a second to gather my thoughts. I'm not going to bother trimming this again. So, 8 reps, RP9, 10, it's not 10 kilos, is it? 60 kilos. Yeah, so, next up, go to the gym. So we've got incline dumbbell curl, leg extension isometric hold, single leg extension, single leg press, and then ab wheel. And then if I've got time, cardio. If I've not got time, then the cardio will be back at home this evening. Now the reason I say about if I've got time is because I'm picking Rach up. She's working. She's got PT right now. So this is the difference if I put that light on. So if I turn this light off, turn this light off. Don't know, how does this look instead? Is it better or worse? I think it tends to look worse, to be honest. So yeah, the rest of the day, I already said, tomorrow will be a filming day. So I need to put my makeup on and look pretty. And then on the evening, I'm doing like a guest presentation thing for a friend who runs an online business, which is, it's not CrossFit, and he'd probably be offended if I said it was CrossFit. I think it's called tactical something, but it's essentially looking at like, if you was being logical about CrossFit, it's kind of like that. So it's training the different athletic components. So like endurance, power, hypertrophy, all sort of stuff. Anyway, I think there might have just been a delivery van pull up. So what I'm going to do is stop this video here. I will potentially see you in a second, but if I'm honest, looking at the other videos, I've just overlaid the stuff that I did at the gym later. I will see you the next time I see you.